Let me start by telling you something. The journey from nothing to wealth is not a story of money, it's a story of transformation. It's about who you become in the process of chasing your dreams. Most people think riches are found in opportunity, but they're really found in capacity. And capacity is built, not given. You can take everything away from a truly wealthy person, the house, the car, the business, and before long, they'll have it all back. Why? Because real wealth is not what they have, it's who they are. You see, poverty isn't just the absence of money. Poverty is when your dreams shrink to the size of your fears. It's when you stop believing that your effort matters. Getting rich from nothing doesn't start with cash. It starts with belief. Belief that what you do matters. Belief that your small efforts compound. Belief that your future is built, not found. That's where the shift happens. I've met people who had everything, money, titles, luxury, yet they were broke inside. And I've met others who had almost nothing but possessed an unstoppable spirit, and in a few short years, they built a life that others could only dream of. What's the difference? The mindset. The decision to no longer live as a victim of circumstances, but as the architect of destiny. See, the reason most people never get rich isn't because they lack opportunity. It's because they trade their future for comfort. They want growth, but they resist change. They want success, but they avoid sacrifice. But life doesn't reward wishes. It rewards work. The kind of work that starts in the morning when no one's watching, that keeps you studying when everyone else is resting, that builds habits when others make excuses. And here's the truth. You don't build wealth, you attract it by becoming valuable. The market pays for value, not time. So if you want to earn more, become more. Learn more, serve more, think bigger, act sharper, stop waiting for someone to open the door, build the skills to create your own. Because when you develop yourself into someone, the world cannot ignore. Money has no choice but to find its way to you. Getting rich from nothing isn't a miracle, it's a formula. And it begins the moment you stop asking, when will I get more? And start asking, how can I become more? Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Getting rich has very little to do with money. It starts long before the first dollar shows up. Wealth doesn't begin in your wallet. It begins in your mind. You see, most people think that if they just had more money, their life would change. But the truth is, if you don't change you, more money will only multiply the same problems you already have. Getting rich from nothing isn't about luck. It's about learning the laws that govern success. Discipline, value, and growth. When I was broke, I didn't need more money. I needed a new philosophy. I was working hard, but I wasn't working smart. I was chasing a paycheck instead of developing myself. And one day, my mentor told me, if you want things to change for you, you have to change. That line hit me like lightning. It made me realize that the secret to wealth is not in the economy, the company, or the government. It's in your daily habits, your mindset, and your ability to create value from nothing. The truth is, most people spend their lives waiting for a lucky break. But luck doesn't visit the unprepared. Opportunity shows up when discipline and growth meet time. The question isn't whether wealth is possible. It's whether you are ready to become the kind of person who can handle it. Because wealth doesn't come to those who need it. It comes to those who deserve it. And you deserve it the moment you start building the mindset, habits, and skills that attract it. So if you're starting from nothing, good. That's where every success story begins. Nothing is a clean slate. Nothing forces you to become resourceful, creative, determined. From nothing, You learn to make something. And that's the foundation of all wealth. You don't need $1 million to start. You just need the courage to begin, the discipline to stay, and the wisdom to grow. Because wealth is not what you get. It's who you become. And once you become the person who can create it, keeping it becomes the easiest part. You don't have to have everything figured out to begin. You just have to start where you are with what you have. That's where every story of success begins. Too many people stand still, waiting for all the lights to turn green before they leave the driveway. They wait for the perfect time, the right opportunity, the ideal partner, the right amount of money. But life doesn't reward waiting, it rewards movement. I remember when I first got started, I didn't have much. In fact, I had pennies in my pocket and a list of excuses in my head. But then someone said something that shook me. You can't start at the top of the mountain. You climb it step by step. And that's what I decided to do. Start small, start broke, start uncertain, but start. The truth is, the wealthy are not magicians. They are masters of resourcefulness. They take what's already around them and find ways to multiply it. A broom in the hands of one man is just a cleaning tool. In the hands of another, it's the beginning of a cleaning business. The difference isn't in the broom, it's in the vision. Most people underestimate what they already possess. Their knowledge, their relationships, their time. If you'd only list what's in your hands right now, skills, ideas, tools, you'd find the seeds of a fortune waiting to be planted. When I began to truly think differently, I stopped saying, if only I had more. Instead, I asked, what can I do with what I already have? And the answer was always something. I had a voice I could speak. I had curiosity I could learn. I had people I could serve. From there, I built everything that came after. That's the formula. Don't despise small beginnings. Honor them, work them, multiply them. The universe rewards initiative, not intention. So I challenge you, before the day ends, take inventory of what you already possess. Write it down. One skill, one tool, one connection, and ask, how can I use this to move 1 inch closer to my goal? Then take one action, no matter how small. Because once you start moving, life starts meeting you halfway. Momentum creates opportunity, and opportunity creates wealth. Remember, the richest soil for success isn't found in what you don't have. It's found in what you already hold. Start where you are, use what you have, and the rest will begin to multiply. Discipline is the invisible force that turns dreams into results. Everyone wants success, but not everyone is willing to build the bridge that leads to it. That bridge is called discipline. I've often said that discipline weighs ounces while regret weighs tons, and I learned that truth the hard way. In my early years, I had ambition, I had dreams, I even had talent, but I lacked discipline. I wanted results without routine, rewards without repetition. It wasn't until I realized that success isn't something you chase, it's something you attract by the person you become, that everything began to change. Discipline is not punishment, it's preparation. Every act of discipline shapes the future you're walking toward. The wealthy don't rely on moods, they rely on methods. They don't wait until they feel like working, they work until they feel proud. When I began practicing discipline, I started simple. I woke up early. I read instead of scrolling. I wrote down my goals instead of just thinking about them. I made promises to myself and kept them. Because if you can't trust yourself with small commitments, how can you handle the big ones success demands? Let me tell you something. It's not the grand actions that build fortune. It's the small, consistent habits. Getting up an hour earlier might not make you rich overnight, but that hour compounds into a mind that's sharper, a plan that's clearer, and a day that's more productive. Writing down your 3 most important tasks each morning may seem simple, But those small victories stack into major progress over time. It's like compound interest. The longer you stay consistent, the greater the return. When I worked under my first mentor, he said, "Discipline yourself or the world will discipline you." And he was right. If you don't take control of your time, distractions will. If you don't manage your habits will manage you. Discipline is the difference between a wish and a result, between a plan and a legacy. So here's the truth. Don't wait for motivation. Train your discipline. Wake up early even when you don't have to. Finish what you start even when no one's watching. Do what needs to be done, not what's convenient. Because the day you master discipline, life begins to trust you with more. And that's when the rewards, financial, personal, spiritual, start to multiply beyond measure. When I was young, I used to think that if I worked hard at my job, I'd get rich. I believed effort alone would be enough to open the doors of opportunity. But one day, my mentor sat me down and said something that changed the entire course of my life. He said, "Don't just work hard on your job, work harder on yourself than you do on your job." At first, I didn't understand. I thought the way to earn more was to simply work longer hours. But what he meant was that your income rarely exceeds your personal development. You can't make more money than the person you become. See, the marketplace rewards value, and your value increases only when you do. If you want to earn more, you have to learn more. If you want to attract better opportunities, you have to become a better thinker, a better decision maker, a better communicator. The world doesn't pay you for your time, it pays you for the value you bring during that time. I remember when I worked long hours doing manual labor, I gave my time, but I didn't give my mind, and time without growth doesn't multiply, it just expires. So I made a decision. I decided to work on me every single day. I started reading books that challenged my thinking, attending seminars that stretched my vision, listening to tapes that reprogrammed my mindset. I discovered that formal education can make you a living, but self-education can make you a fortune. I dedicate an hour each morning to study something new, economics, communication, leadership, even philosophy. Slowly I noticed the shift. I didn't just work harder, I worked smarter. I started bringing new ideas to my job, new perspectives to problems, and new solutions that made me indispensable. You see, when you develop yourself, you don't have to chase success, it starts to chase you. You become magnetic to opportunity because you've increased your capacity to handle it. Every book you read adds a layer of depth to your thinking. Every seminar you attend sharpens your awareness. Every hour spent learning compounds into wisdom that no one can take away from you. So here's the truth. Jobs can come and go, but who you become stays with you forever. If you want to change your income, change your input. Grow beyond your paycheck. Because when you invest in yourself, you're building the one asset that appreciates for a lifetime you. When I was broke, I used to think that if I could just make more money, all my problems would disappear. I thought the lack of money was the problem, but I was wrong. It wasn't the lack of money, it was the lack of discipline. Because if you can't manage a little, you'll waste a lot. Money doesn't change your habits, it amplifies them. If you're careless with $100, you'll be reckless with $10,000. That's why the foundation of wealth is not income, it's control. You can't expect to be trusted with more until you've learned to master what you already have. I remember a time when I got my first decent paycheck. For a young man who'd grown up broke, it felt like a small fortune. And like most people, I thought I deserved something nice. So I spent it all new clothes, dinners, entertainment. A week later, I was right back where I started. I realized that my wallet wasn't the problem. My mindset was. So I started keeping a small notebook. Every penny I spent went in there. Every coffee, every meal, every little thing I thought didn't matter. And by the end of that first month, I was shocked. It wasn't the big expenses eating my income. It was the small, thoughtless ones. The unnecessary comforts that robbed my future for a moment of pleasure. The secret is simple. Control always comes before increase. Learn to tell your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Save a minimum of 10% of everything you earn, no matter how little it seems. Because saving isn't about the amount, it's about developing the muscle of discipline. Every dollar you save builds the habit of control, and every dollar you waste weakens it. And stop trying to impress people who aren't paying your bills. You don't need to buy what you can't afford to show a lifestyle you don't live. That's not success, that's self-sabotage. True wealth is quiet, steady, and strategic. It's built by those who understand that financial control is a mindset long before it's a bank balance. So before you go chasing higher income, master the art of managing what you already have. Because if you can't handle $1,000 with wisdom, you'll mishandle $10,000 with ease. Wealth begins not when you make more, but when you stop wasting what you already earn. When I was young, I thought money was the answer to everything. If I could just find the right investment, the right business, or the right opportunity, I'd be rich. But I later discovered that opportunity is worthless without understanding. You don't grow rich by luck, you grow rich by learning. And that's why I say, invest in knowledge before you invest in assets. Because money without wisdom is soon parted. The poor spend to look rich, the middle class save to stay safe, but the wealthy learn to multiply what they earn. When I was first starting out, I was impatient. I wanted to skip the learning and jump straight to the earning. Then one day, my mentor said, "Young man, before you double your income, double your knowledge." That hit me hard. I realized I was trying to build a skyscraper on a foundation made of sand. I was chasing returns without understanding risk. So I started reading every book I could find on money, investing, and human behavior. I learned that wealth doesn't come from guessing, it comes from knowing how the game is played. Knowledge gives you power over emotion, and emotion is what ruins most people financially. The moment the market dips, they panic. When prices rise, they chase. But when you've educated yourself, you don't react to noise. You act with logic. You understand compounding, patience, and value. You know that it's better to miss an opportunity than to lose your capital to ignorance. So start simple. Read one good book on money each month. Not hype, not quick fix nonsense, principles. Learn about budgeting, saving, investing, and the magic of compounding. Follow people who teach financial wisdom, not those selling fantasies. Learn how to make money, how to keep it, and how to make it grow. Because no matter what happens to the economy, your knowledge will protect you. Inflation can destroy savings. Markets can crash. But a wise mind always finds a way to rebuild. And remember, assets without understanding are liabilities in disguise. The greatest investment you'll ever make is in your own mind. Because when you become more intelligent with money, money will start to find you. Wealth follows wisdom, always has, always will. So before you put your dollars into an investment, put your time into learning. That's how fortunes are built. Not from risk, but from readiness. When I was a young man working as a clerk, I thought a paycheck was the goal, a symbol that I was doing well. But I soon learned that one paycheck can become a chain if it's your only source of income. Wealthy people don't depend on luck or a single employer. They depend on leverage, multiple sources of income that work even when they don't. Because if you only have one stream of income, one decision, one crisis, or one mistake can wipe it all out. True freedom begins when your money starts earning while you sleep. But here's the truth most people miss. Before you build multiple streams, you must master one. Too many people start 10 things halfway instead of finishing one thing completely. If you can't manage $1, you can't manage 10. If you can't handle one business, you'll drown trying to handle 3. Focus on building your first income source until it runs smoothly, until it becomes efficient, profitable, and predictable. Then use that foundation to create the next one. When my first business started to do well, I didn't buy a new car or a bigger house. I reinvested the profits into learning and other ventures. That's how you multiply money. Not by spending it faster, but by planting it into new soil. I bought rental properties, started side ventures, and partnered with people who had strengths I didn't. Each stream fed the next. Some failed, yes, but others succeeded, and the successful ones more than covered the losses. Building multiple streams doesn't mean chasing every shiny thing that comes along. It means being strategic. Your second source of income should complement the first. If you're a teacher, write a book or create a course. If you're in sales, start consulting or mentoring. If you run a business, find ways to add products, services, or partnerships that expand your reach. And when the money starts coming in, resist the temptation to inflate your lifestyle. The poor upgrade their spending. The wealthy upgrade their systems. Reinvest profits into opportunities, not appearances. Because wealth is not measured by what you earn. It's measured by what continues to earn after you stop working. So build your foundation strong, then expand your reach. Don't wait for the perfect time or the perfect plan. Start small, grow wisely, and let your money begin to work for you. That's the quiet formula of the truly rich. Multiple streams flowing from one disciplined source. When I first entered the world of business, I thought selling was just about convincing someone to buy something. I believed it was about slick words or clever tactics. But I was wrong. Selling is not about manipulation. It's about communication, about understanding people and solving their problems better than anyone else. Everything in life is sales. You're either selling your ideas, your vision, your leadership, or your product. The better you become at communicating value, the more valuable you become. You see, wealth doesn't flow to the best product. It flows to the best communicator. You could have the greatest idea in the world, but if you can't explain it, inspire belief in it, and connect it to someone's need, it dies in silence. The person who learns to articulate clearly, to influence ethically, and to lead with conviction will always rise in business, relationships, and life. I remember when I started speaking, my words were rough, my delivery uncertain. I wasn't born a great communicator. I became one through practice, by studying those who did it well, by speaking when I was afraid, by selling when I had nothing but belief. I would talk to people about what I believed in, even when I wasn't sure they'd listen. And over time, I learned that communication isn't about having the right words, it's about having the right heart. People don't buy products, they buy confidence, trust, and emotion.